You ever seen a downfall so messy, so chaotic, so cinematically scandalous, you thought it was the season finale of a telenovela? Well, buckle up, because Chrissy Lampkin just turned the courtroom into a full-blown Love and Hip Hop federal edition. Yes, you heard that right. The same Chrissy who once flipped tables for love just got flipped herself, straight into handcuffs after a jaw-dropping court confession that exposed a fake pregnancy plot so wild even Mona Scott Young would have said, "Nah, sis, too far." Now let's be clear, we're not talking a little fib to spice up a storyline. No. We're talking full-blown emotional fraud, wire transfers, leaked hotel tapes, and a fake miscarriage pitch allegedly approved by producers. Like, are we making TV or committing federal crimes now? And wait for it, it gets worse. This isn't just about Chrissy. Camron's name is all over it. VH1 producers are being investigated. Yandy's back in the mix, dropping truth bombs from the witness stand like she's auditioning for Law & Order reality unit. So the question is, was Chrissy trying to save her love story or produce her own destruction? Oh, you thought reality TV was fake? Baby, you had no idea just how fake it could get. Because today, we're not talking about your average reality TV mess. We're talking handcuffs in court, wire transfers to offshore accounts, fake pregnancies, and a network allegedly plotting a miscarriage storyline for ratings. Yes, you heard that right. The queen of dramatic pauses and forever fiancés, Chrissy Lampkin, has just been arrested in court after a stunning, tear-soaked confession that she faked an entire pregnancy, allegedly for clout, coins, and camera time. And before you clutch your pearls, know this: she wasn't alone. Oh no, baby. There were producers, there were payments, and there were plans. Let's rewind. Because this isn't just a scandal. This is the kind of plot twist that makes Game of Thrones look like Sesame Street. So how did Chrissy go from reality TV icon to federal defendant? Buckle up, because the tea is scalding, the tapes are rolling, and the courtroom is on fire. It all started with a simple rumor. A whisper on set, a cryptic Instagram story, and then boom, Chrissy's pregnant. The fans rejoiced. Jim Jones posted a cryptic prayer emoji. Love and Hip Hop producers grinned behind the scenes. Finally, a juicy storyline for season 70 billion of this never-ending love story. But here's the gag. There was no baby. Not even a faint line on a dollar store pregnancy test. According to insiders, the entire storyline was manufactured, down to the fake ultrasound, the nausea scenes, and the suspiciously timed social media hiatus. And who helped her plan? It? Well, allegedly. A shady associate producer named Morgan B. Yes, the same one caught in that hotel hallway footage with Camron 2 weeks before filming started. And speaking of Camron, oh, we'll get to him. Because apparently, this wasn't just a lie. This was a multi-layered PR operation funded by the network, directed by cast members, and allegedly signed off on by VH1 execs themselves. Let's talk timeline. The pregnancy announcement dropped just 2 weeks after Jim reportedly left their shared home in New Jersey and relocated to Miami alone. Chrissy's brand deals were drying up, her storylines were flatlining, and producers were allegedly threatening to cut her from the main cast. That's when, allegedly, she pulled the ultimate move. Fake the baby, save the bag. One source, a former intern on the production team, claimed they all knew. Chrissy even joked about it in makeup. She said, "I gotta be the main chick again. This baby is my Beyoncé moment." I thought she was playing. Guess not. And guess what? It worked at first. Social media exploded with congratulations. Blogs ran headlines like, "Love and Hip Hop's Chrissy finally gets her baby," and "Jim Jones to be a dad." A blue-check supplement brand even signed Chrissy to a 6-figure deal for prenatal vitamins. But behind the scenes, something was off. Real fans noticed inconsistencies. No bump updates, no OBGYN pics, not even a baby registry. Chrissy, who documents everything from her hair appointments to brunch, suddenly got camera shy. And then came the leak, an anonymous email sent to 3 gossip bloggers and a former cast member. Subject line: Chrissy's pregnancy is fake. I have the receipts. Attached, screenshots, audio files, and yes, surveillance footage from a hotel lobby where Chrissy is heard whispering to Morgan. Once the cameras are on, we say it slipped. Out early. The producers will back it up. Jim will go along. And the pièce de résistance? A wire transfer from Camron's business account to an offshore PR firm labeled Narrative Development Fee. Date? 2 weeks before the fake pregnancy reveal? Excuse me? Camron paid for the storyline? Now we're in scandalception. Let's not forget, Camron and Jim have had a messy history. Dipset beef, Instagram subs, and now this? A scripted pregnancy allegedly funded by your former best friend? That's either betrayal or business genius. Possibly both. And that brings us to court. Because what started as tea turned into subpoenas, VH1, allegedly attempting damage control, launched an internal investigation, but it was too late. The judge called for public testimony. Chrissy was subpoenaed. Jim was unavailable for comment. And Morgan, caught on a flight to Tulum hours before his court date. But baby, it was Yandy who lit the match. Yandandi. Yes, that Yandy. The same woman Chrissy nearly fought on national TV. The one who once shaded her for being engaged for 15 years, walked into court with a subpoena in one hand and vengeance in her soul. She took the stand. She swore the oath. And then she dropped bombs like it was season finale night. Yes, I knew Chrissy was lying. Yes, Morgan helped plan it. Yes, Camron knew, and yes, VH1 paid her a bonus to keep the storyline going. Gasps. Audible gasps. One blogger in the gallery literally whispered, "This is giving Emmy-worthy finale." The judge had to pause. Even the court stenographer looked shook, and Yandy wasn't done. I warned producers. I said, "This will blow up. You can't exploit motherhood for ratings." But they didn't care. They said, "If the ratings go up, we win." And here's the darkest part. According to Yandy, the producers allegedly had a backup plan in case the fake pregnancy got exposed. What was it? A scripted miscarriage to salvage the storyline. Let that sink in. They were allegedly ready to fake a miscarriage for drama. That's not just unethical. That's psychotic. The court went silent. Chrissy broke. Tears, smeared mascara. Her voice cracked. I didn't want to go through with it, but I had nothing left. No storyline, no brand deals. Jim wasn't coming home. I thought if I gave them something dramatic enough, I'd matter again. Too late. The court had heard enough. The judge ordered a full investigation into VH1's production practices. Morgan B. was flagged for federal questioning. The network issued a shaky statement blaming independent decisions by unnamed staff. Social media exploded. Cancel VH1 started trending within an hour. Sponsors pulled ads. Former cast members started speaking out. One even posted, "They told me to fake a domestic incident. I said no. Now I'm blacklisted." Chrissy said yes, and look where it got her. The courtroom was still vibrating from the chaos when the unthinkable happened. The tape leaked. Yes, that tape. The one where Chrissy was cornered, exposed, and forced to admit she faked her pregnancy for clout. It hit the internet like wildfire, blowing up Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and even Facebook, because when a lie this big goes public, it doesn't matter what generation you belong to. Everyone had something to say. The clip starts with Chrissy on the witness stand, looking like she just ran through 3 layers of denial and hit the brick wall of truth. Her voice was shaky, mascara smudged, and yet she still had the audacity to whisper, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." Girl, you didn't trip and fall into a fake pregnancy storyline. This wasn't an accident. This was a whole PowerPoint presentation with backup slides and producer notes. And then came the receipts. Wire transfers, fake doctor consultations, even text messages between Chrissy and a VH1 producer where she literally said, and we quote, "If this don't get me the ring, it'll at least get me a reunion check." Yikes. Suddenly, everyone was digging. Blog pages were in overdrive. A former hairstylist of Chrissy's came forward, claiming she overheard meetings where the entire pregnancy arc was being mapped out like a Marvel film. They said the miscarriage was the plot twist, like a mid-season cliffhanger. Who says that with a straight face? And you know who else got caught in the blast radius? Camron. Yes, Dipset Cam. Turns out, according to a leaked offshore wire transfer labeled Narrative Development Fee, Mr. Killiseason himself sent $60,000 to a shady consulting firm just 2 weeks before Chrissy posted that infamous baby bump pic. Coincidence? Please, Cam wasn't even in the same zip code as the storyline, but his fingerprints were all over the mess. Insiders say he was in on it from day one, quietly funding Chrissy's delusion while trying to make Jim look emotionally unstable and easy to manipulate. That's not just petty, that's Oscar campaign levels of strategic. Now let's talk about VH1 because baby, when I tell you the network is shook. Producers started vanishing like interns during a coffee run. One associate producer, Morgan B., yes, the same one seen in the leaked hotel footage, was actually escorted out of the courtroom mid-trial by federal agents. Federal. As in, this isn't just reality TV mess anymore. It's giving RICO indictment. Turns out Morgan allegedly played a key role in orchestrating the entire fake pregnancy scheme. Her DMs got subpoenaed, and let's just say, you don't want your group chat in the hands of federal investigators when you've been brainstorming fake baby names and acting coaches for your emotional reveal scene. Meanwhile, Chrissy just sat there, the center of the storm she created, like a producer watching her own downfall unfold in 4K. She didn't flinch when her emails were read aloud, didn't blink when the judge asked if she accepted payment from prenatal vitamin sponsors. Yes, you heard that right, prenatal vitamins. She actually inked a deal to promote supplements, while knowing full well there was no baby, no bump, just pure Bravo-level deception with VH1 execution. And if you thought the court was done, oh no baby, it was just getting started. The prosecution rolled out the big guns, a digital trail showing exactly how Chrissy profited from the lie. Podcast appearances, sponsored IG posts, speaking engagements, even a now-canceled book deal with the working title, Forever Yours Maybe, The Chrissy Chronicles. It was marketed as an intimate peek into her struggle, her womanhood, her pain. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, she was signing contracts under a character name she invented for screen time. Publishers immediately pulled out, issuing a savage statement: "We do not support fraudulent narratives that damage public trust." Oop. Outside the courthouse, chaos. Protesters lined the sidewalk, not political activists, not celebrities, regular women. Real mothers, people who had suffered real loss, holding signs that read, "Pregnancy isn't a PR stunt, and motherhood is sacred, not for ratings." The tone had shifted. What started as a juicy scandal was now a full-blown cultural reckoning. And just when you thought Chrissy couldn't be dragged any further, enter Trina Bell. Now, if you're scratching your head like, wait, who's Trina Bell? You're not alone. She was a background character on Love and Hip Hop seasons ago, barely had 5 lines and spent most of her screen time in the glam chair. But she had the one thing Chrissy didn't: receipts. Subpoenaed after investigators uncovered a series of old emails between her and Chrissy, buried in the VH1 production. Server Trina walked into court like she had nothing to lose. And maybe she didn't, because the emails she turned over? Explosive. One message from Chrissy literally read, "Jimmy don't think straight when he emotional. If I hit him with the pregnancy and that camron beef, he'll propose out of you." Guilt. Trina replied, "Even if it's fake?" And Chrissy said, and this is a direct quote, "He won't know till it's too late." Folks in the courtroom gasped like they were watching Scandal live. One juror clutched her pearls. The judge actually removed his glasses and just stared at the ceiling for a full 30 seconds. That kind of silence only happens when everyone knows we've crossed from messy to monstrous. And just like that, the whole case flipped. It wasn't just about Chrissy faking a pregnancy anymore. It was about a network knowingly greenlighting trauma for ratings, about producers coaching women to lie for drama, about a cast of men being emotionally manipulated on national television under the guise of love stories. And that's when the judge snapped. He slammed his gavel so hard it echoed like a gunshot. "This isn't just reality television," he said. "This is systemic exploitation. Cue absolute courtroom bedlam." VH1 lawyers scrambled to exit. Execs started placing emergency calls. Some even dipped out before the judge could issue subpoenas. Morgan B., the associate producer, was immediately arrested on site. No cuffless courtesy this time. The courtroom saw it all. Her sobbing as she was led out in cuffs while Chrissy just sat still, dead silent. And in that eerie silence, one thing became crystal clear. Chrissy was no longer just a controversial reality TV figure. She had become the symbol of something darker, a manufactured fantasy wrapped in emotional manipulation, monetized pain, and strategic deceit. The empire she tried to build on lies was crumbling, brick by scandalous brick. And in the midst of the collapse, Jim Jones, still nowhere to be seen. Sources say he's off-grid in South Africa, reportedly in talks with indie filmmakers about the real story. Working title? The Engagement That Never Ended. Allegedly featuring unreleased footage, behind-the-scenes secrets, and Dipset betrayals. We haven't even begun to process. But just when we thought this courtroom drama had peaked, just when we thought nothing else could possibly drop, the prosecution stepped forward with one more bombshell. A private message chain between Camron and none other than Erica Mena. Yeah, that Erica. And if you've been following Love and Hip Hop long enough, you know when Erica's name enters the chat, it's about to get catastrophic. The courtroom fell into stunned silence as Erica Mena's name lit up the screen. You could practically hear the jaws hit the floor. The prosecution didn't hesitate. They pulled up the messages. Long, chaotic, emoji-filled conversations between Camron and Erica, and let me tell you, it was like watching a crossover episode of every reality show VH1 ever aired. Erica, in true unfiltered fashion, had messaged Cam months before the Chrissy bombshell even dropped, saying, "Yo, you really gonna let her go full soap opera with this pregnancy thing?" To which Cam replied, "It's already in motion. Once the fake test results hit, it's game over." Game over. They planned this from the jump, but it gets nastier. In a follow-up message, Erica literally warns Cam, "Careful. If she gets caught, you go down too." And Cam, "Oh, sweet." Harlem Cam, he responds with a shrug emoji and says, "I'm 10 steps ahead." 10 steps ahead? Boy, you're standing in court while the whole internet is watching you in 4K get fried like catfish on Friday. Erica wasn't done either. She dropped voice notes. Yes, voice notes. In one, Chrissy can be heard saying, "If this doesn't work, I'll just cry miscarriage. They'll eat that up." The gasps were so loud, someone had to be escorted out for hyperventilating. And the judge? He looked like he was reconsidering every career choice that led him to preside over a reality TV scandal turned legal horror show. At this point, the case was no longer just about lies. It was about weaponizing vulnerability. It was about exploiting womanhood, manipulating relationships, and setting fire to every moral line on national television. And VH1? Let's just say their PR team hasn't slept in 72 hours. Every hour, another sponsor pulled out. Makeup brands, fashion lines, even a fertility awareness nonprofit that had partnered with the network for a campaign dropped them instantly, issuing a scathing press release. "We will not stand by while women's real struggles are mocked for ratings." Period. Chrissy, for once, looked cornered. Gone was the defiant stare, the smirk, the reality queen attitude. In its place? Panic. But even then, she tried to spin it. Her lawyer, who might honestly deserve his own reality show after this, tried to argue that Chrissy was performing under emotional duress and pressured by the exploitative nature of the television industry. Sir, she pitched this storyline. She signed the deal. She hired the fake OBGYN. That's not duress. That's a Netflix documentary in the making. And speaking of fake doctors, let's not forget the good old Dr. Lorraine Michaels, the so-called OBGYN who appeared on Chrissy's IG story, holding a sonogram and offering congratulations. Turns out, she's not even licensed in the state of New York. A quick search exposed that Lorraine hasn't practiced medicine since 2017, when she was barred from clinical work for forging medical school credentials in, wait for it, Belize. You can't make this up. The prosecution called her the Dr. Phil of prenatal fraud and filed charges for impersonating a medical professional. She's currently under investigation and facing up to 5 years in federal prison. Meanwhile, the fans? Oh, they were in full FBI mode. Twitter detectives uncovered that the sonogram Chrissy posted was ripped straight off Google Images, literally the first result for 12-week ultrasound. And she didn't even bother to Photoshop out the watermark. We're talking dollar store deception. And yet millions of people bought it. They congratulated her. They cheered for her. Some even shared their own painful stories in support. And now? Betrayed, disgusted, furious. One fan even started a petition titled "Justice for the Baby That Never Was," demanding VH1 cancel all future Chrissy appearances and donate $1 million to real mothers in need. Within 48 hours, it hit $500,000 signatures. Even A-list celebs started weighing in. Cardi B tweeted, "This why y'all can't play with pregnancy. That shot ain't no storyline, it's real life." Rihanna reportedly unfollowed Chrissy and posted a cryptic Insta story with a quote, "You are what you pretend to be." Mic dropped. And if you think the avalanche stopped there, think again. Jim Jones finally emerged, yes, finally, via a grainy Instagram live from what looked like a desert retreat. In a moment of raw honesty, he said, "I don't know who that woman is anymore. I loved her. I defended her. But that ain't love." He looked broken, like a man who just realized he'd been holding onto a ghost. The comment section was a flood of sympathy, heartbreak, and people yelling, "Drop a diss track!" And honestly, they might get it. Word on the street is Jim's back in the studio, and insiders say his upcoming EP is titled Lies and Love. Let that sink in. You know when a rapper gets poetic with their pain, it's about to be iconic. Back in court, Chrissy's team tried a last-minute Hail Mary. They offered to settle, plead guilty to a misdemeanor charge in exchange for probation and community service. The judge, not having it. You didn't just lie to a man, you lied to millions, and you monetized that lie. Boom, rejected. Trial continues. Chrissy now faces charges ranging from fraud to emotional abuse to public deception. Her sentencing hearing is set for next month, and word is, the judge is pushing for the maximum penalty allowed under reality television exploitation laws. That's right, there's a whole legal category now because of her. But perhaps the most haunting moment came after court, when a camera crew caught Chrissy leaving the courthouse. Surrounded by paparazzi, hiding behind giant shades and a hoodie, a reporter shouted, "Do you have anything to say to the women who believed you?" Chrissy paused, just for a second, and then said, "I just wanted to be seen." Whew, that line, that confession, that unraveling of it all, it wasn't about love, it wasn't about marriage, it wasn't even about Jim, it was about attention, about validation, about staying relevant in a world that moves on faster than a trending hashtag. And in her desperation to stay in the spotlight, Chrissy burned down the very image she tried so hard to protect. So here we are. A fake pregnancy, a federal investigation, a canceled book deal, a broken relationship, and a reality empire left in ruins. And yet, somehow, this feels like just the beginning. Because if Chrissy was bold enough to fake a baby, what else was fake? What else was scripted, manipulated, staged? So now that the masks are off and the receipts are flying like confetti, we need to ask the real questions. How far is too far in the name of clout? Is faking a pregnancy the new publicity stunt of 2025? And most importantly, is Chrissy done? Or is this just season 1 of her redemption arc? Because let's be real, we've seen celebrities come back from worse. But this, faking a baby, lying on national TV, involving a fake doctor from Belize, this isn't just scandal, this is warfare on truth. And you better believe the internet is keeping score. Jim Jones is out here rebuilding his life. Camron is dodging subpoenas like they're dodgeballs in high school gym class. Erica Mena, she just might get her own spin-off out of this mess. And Chrissy? She's somewhere in a rented SUV Googling how to beat fraud charges in New York. So now we turn it over to you, the real jury. Do you think Chrissy should serve real time for this lie? Was she desperate or diabolical? Is this all one big setup? Or did the Queen of Chaos finally lose control of her own game? Drop your hottest takes in the comments. Don't hold back. We want to hear it all. Make sure you like this video if you're still in shock. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready for more explosive truths, and turn on notifications because, trust us, this drama, it's just getting started. This has been your ultimate deep dive into one of the wildest reality scandals of the decade. Stay alert, stay petty, and remember, in the world of fame, nothing is ever what it seems.